Yesterday we had a little bit of a weak close, got me a little risk off, but there's still a lot of ways to execute today. If you recall, we talked about getting involved in BABA calls because just in case the Shanghai was included in the MCSI indice, I figured they have a big gap up. I want to have some calls just in case, and I was treating it like a binary event. But you actually had a few good things there. You had not only were you able to have your calls, there was an opportunity to buy it because BABA was basically flattish, and then you had your pivots that we talked about. So I'm going to go over some trades that we went over in the virtual trading floor and what situations I have on. And hopefully you've been watching the Morning Call Express and the recap because I try and give you the full view of the day. And if you want the nuts and bolts, you have to be a Redler All Access subscriber, which gets actually the executions and then the VTFCs are live. So anyway, go to the chart of the S&P cash, and if you look here at the S&P cash, you will see all in all, you know, not momentum to the upside and not really that much momentum to the downside. What you had here is the 21-day moving average, which is right here, right? And basically yesterday we closed below Monday's low, so we filled that gap, so it took out a little momentum, and now we're just hovering. Okay, at this particular point, you know what? Don't be in the S&P cash, but as long as it stays above the 21-day, it's fine. Where I found the opportunities today was in our names in a high beta tech, which some had catalysts, some didn't, but all in all, there were ways to maneuver. We had AMD overnight, which you actually had a little bit of time to buy AMD when they announced the chip. They announced the chip at like 4 o'clock. You could have bought all the AMD you wanted, pretty much yesterday somewhere around 1270. Now all of a sudden it's at $14. Okay, so nice move, clears this descending channel, and we'll see if it works its way back up to here. And that's AMD. You go back to BABA. BABA basically had one of the best charts out there before the Shanghai getting included into the indice, and before Jack Ma came on at 9 o'clock and spoke all day long, and he sounded great. So what you could have done is this morning, you could have had options overnight, or you could have said, I'm going to buy it, when it tests the 8-day, okay, which it did today, or when it clears this 140.40. So it cleared 140.40 and basically gave you a really nice move all the ways up to 143.50, and I'm basically still in it, overnight. Could you hold on 1 second? I actually have a phone call coming in, and I have to pass it off to one of my associates. Jeremy, come here. Tell him that I can't speak right now. Sorry, I think that was the CEO of Oracle telling me about the earnings, but the earnings are on the tape. Earnings were great. They got it higher. So at this particular point, Oracle is up after hours, so it could give tech a whole nother push up. But anyway, let's go back to BABA. Great looking chart. Held the gap. It looks really good above the 8-day. Pressed above this spot here. I think that tomorrow, barring some kind of news, it should get some follow through. As far as other tech, I am back in Amazon. Why am I back in Amazon? Because you know what? After all is said and done, held the 8-day, turned up today. First green closed today. I do think if they want to mark things up, perhaps it closed above 1,000. You can get an up move tomorrow. So I'm in Amazon. Apple doesn't look like Amazon. It's been lagging a little bit, but this also, to me, I feel like there's another trade to have, or another, trade to be involved in. If you got out of the way when it broke this upper pennant here, basically, you've had some luxury of buying down into this area. So guys say, what's a red dog reversal sometimes? Well, it goes below a prior low of 144.94, made a low of 144.60, came above, and gave you a little bit of a move. So for me, I'm in some Apple, and if it happens to take out this spot tomorrow, I do think it still wants to test a 50-day, and perhaps, it had a real strong quarter, so maybe the guys want to mark it up a little bit with we still have another week to go there. So all in all, though, held where it had to, which is what I say. Netflix, which has been also on the weaker side, it too perked up a little bit today. For me, I think that I'll be a buyer tomorrow if it were to take out this spot. So instead, I bought it today and it acted well all day, and I'll maybe add tomorrow if we get it through this pivot, for a little bit of a retracement. All in all, it did a red dog reversal down here. What's a red dog reversal? Traded below this, put a low and came back above it. Some guys are long from here and they're not even touching it. That's you. Great entry. We'll see what's next here. As far as some other high beta tech, NVIDIA is still looking good. Can't really complain. You had this move above this spot here on Monday, put a little topping tail on Tuesday, and then held where it had to again. So if you're trading in your tactical, you could use these pivots. These pivots are working. But then you go, oh no, on the weaker side, oil. Well, we've been talking about oil's been broken for all of 2017. If you haven't bought stocks this year because XLE keeps making lower lows every few weeks, you've lost out on a lot of opportunities. And if you look here at the XLE, you could look at the blog post we put out there. Basically, since the day 2017 happened, it's been trapped and below the 50-day this entire year. The only time it's been viable is basically when it's at the bottom end of the channel. So try not to short it down here. But all in all, if you're not buying stocks that are working because you're looking at oil prices and you're watching the TV set talking about how the market's just correlated to oil and the energy names, well, it's the furthest thing from it. Look at this. This is a descending trendline channel, and the market itself, you look at the spiders, is not doing that. Look at that trend. That's a little bit different than the XLE. Here's trend number one, and now the XLE is still holding up. I mean, the spider's above this. So all in all, some things to do. The banks were kind of lethargic today, so you know what? If the banks are lethargic, don't be in the banks. I tried to figure out if they could be viable today, if they reclaimed yesterday's lows, and they did not. So I'm out of the way there. So all in all, I think there is the fix in until the quarter's end, but you can't trade like that blindly. Just watch to see if you see some signals. We saw some signals again in tech. Finally BABA turned up. You had a catalyst. If you're in it, great. If you were in the options, we bought them at $1.35 at 2 o'clock yesterday, and I think we were selling some at 2, some at 2.60, and some at 3 today. Nice trade, and you could have also bought the stock once it was out of the way. If you're trying to play some laggard stocks or not, or stocks that corrected a bit, like the Apple trade, at least if you do with the plan, if you were out of the way and sold when it broke momentum trends, you could buy it in the hole and figure out if it could rebuild. And that's how you trade. And that's how you make a P&L. That's how you go, move forward, and et cetera, et cetera. It's Wednesday. It's beautiful out. Enjoy your evening. I'll see you in the morning.